Perfect. Mahmoud is already here. Should we give it a go?
Yes. Do we have a lot of participants?
We have
I cannot
100.
see people anymore, just so you
No.
know. So I'm gonna be talking to you.
No, it's okay. We have 159 and the number is going
Okay,
up.
awesome.
Yes. So yes, we
Awesome.
can go.
It's always strange to share the screen because I'm talking to only one person, and now actually two. Yeah. So welcome to this webinar series. I'm very, very happy to see you all and a lot of people. We were always wondering whether the summer will be busy for everyone, but I'm glad to see the enthusiasm. So thank you so much for joining. We will be starting with a few introductions. So basically, there will be Isabella monitoring the chat and helping me moderating the session. I'm going to leave you to introduce yourself. It will be easier.
Mhm. Thank you, Alex, and thank you everyone for joining, signing up for our first webinar as part of the Capacity Development Series. This is something that we have been planning for quite some time, and I'm very glad that you're all here. So for those that I haven't been able to connect before, my name is Isabella Spindola, and I work at the International Water Association, IWA, as the Membership Engagement Senior Officer responsible for the Young Water Professionals community. IWA is a membership-based association, and among our members, we have the Young Water Professional. This is why we are also connected and supporting this capacity development series organized by the Global Youth Movement for Water, as well as the UN Major Group for Children and Youth. Alex, back to you.
Thank you so much. So my name is Alix Debray. I work for the International Secretariat for Water. I'm the youth sector coordinator. And the International Secretariat for Water, for those who don't know, is an NGO. We are based in Montreal. We also have offices elsewhere in the world, in France, in Strasbourg, in Moldova, and in Tajikistan. And we do a lot of different things from field work with building infrastructure and working on sanitation and access to water, up to advocacy and work with youth. In that pillar, we are hosting the Secretariat of the Global Youth Movement for Water. And I will talk about it later, but we will also be the operational secretariat for the Youth for Water flagship initiative, which will be a big thing. So just a bit of a teaser. And what else can I say? We do a lot of different things, right? We do some capacity building projects. We do advocacy. We try and empower young people, but also partners, right? Working with youth is not only working with young people, but also with partners that used to be young and that still remember how important of a phase it is and of a role you play. So for this series, we really wanted to open the UN Water Conference to the public, right? Not only to people who will be able to join the water conference or to follow online what's happening, but also for those who want to understand what is at stake and how important it is, to what extent it's important in the water sector. So we're gonna dive into it in the I forgot it was me with the slides. So we will also introduce some speakers along the way during the presentation to not bore you with too many introduction and too much information at once. But then, so the idea is to give you an overview of the series here in this introduction, and then to present really generally the UN Water Conference, to talk to you about the Global Youth Movement for Water and its partners, such as the UN Major Group for Children and Youth, and to give you some concrete examples, just a couple, but some very important ones, of opportunities for meaningful youth engagement towards, so up until the conference, but also beyond. Then we will talk a bit about the next steps, and you will have time for Q&A. So don't hesitate to use the chat to already ask some questions, but also I would recommend you to note them for yourself and then bundle them towards the end so that we can group and have everybody know what they want to know. So let's start with the, oh, I always forget that it's me. It's usually not me with the slide. Sorry. Technicalities. So Isabella, if you,
Yes, of course. Thank you, Alex. And just before I started, I go over this in terms of the overview of the capacity development cities. I would kindly request that everyone that has an AI, that they remove the AI from the meeting today, from the session today, because we have a lot of people registered, more than 700 participants. So if everyone connected with the AI, we won't have space for all the young people that are here. So please remove your AI from this. The meeting is being recorded, it's being transcribed, and we are going to be sharing everything afterwards. So please, if you have an AI, remove it from the meeting. I will be doing a monitoring the attendees list afterwards just to make sure that we only have really like people following and not AI here. And the second comment is that I have been seeing a lot of people with the same name connected, and please avoid doing this. If you can, please ask your colleague that you have shared your link to sign up and use their own link so we can have access to the information about who has really been joining the session. So coming back to the overview of this webinar series, if you saw the registration page, we are planning 8 webinars between July and November 2026, between every like 2 and 3 weeks. This is the first one, is the introductory session, and it's being led by ISW. And then we will have other 6 online events related and aligned with the conference interactive dialogue. So water for people, water for prosperity, planet, investment for water, cooperation, multilateral process. And then the last one is going to be a youth position session focused on the development and in this preparations toward our statements as young water professionals in the UN Water Conference. So here you can see the timeline in terms on what we have been planning for the session. So the first one today, and then we have one already like planned for the 21 of August. And we will be sharing afterwards the link to register on this. In case anyone has any questions regarding the webinar series, feel free to reach out to me. I will post my email in the chat, and then I can go over your question on this. Just a reminder again that the sessions, all the sessions, they are going to be recorded and they are going to be available online for your consultations afterwards. And we also be going to be sharing the presentation slides. And that's it, Alex.
awesome, thank you. Oh, sorry, too much of a click. Just to complement what Isabella has been saying about this webinar series, I just wanted to raise the attention on the fact that it's a continuity from the Global Youth Movement and its partners engagements. We have already started some webinar series, and I take this time to talk about them because my goal is not to repeat for some of you who may have been involved in the webinars. Then it would be just repeating. So I find it a bit of a shame also, like we want to create always more content that adds value from what is already out there available. So what I would really suggest for those who are interested in diving more into everything is to have a look at these QR codes and the links which are leading you to a blog post. For each webinar, we have a web page basically with content, description, summary, but also the slides of the presentation that we had made, and a recording as well. It may be a bit boring to look at a lot of recordings, but at the same time, it's really valuable information out there. The difference between the series that we did before and the series that we are doing now is that the series before was really short, right? It was only 3 webinars. That being said, we were giving first a thorough overview, I'd say, of the UN Water Conference, and then we were diving into the different interactive dialogues. And then we were more preparing for Dakar, the preparatory meeting that I'm going to talk a bit about after. But so the idea with these webinars was that it it was not only youth organizations, it was also civil society, which brings value in the sense that the second webinar specifically, we had divided it in breakout rooms per interactive dialogue to see a bit what is the mood with civil society and youth organizations, and what can we get from what can we expect from the civil society and youth position. And I think it's rather important to start from there to look at what we're going to dive into for each webinar of the series, as we will be diving into each of the interactive dialogue. So feel free to look. I promise it's valuable. It's really worth it. And don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions. For the global water governance overview and the general overview of the water conference, I wanted to take the liberty to give the floor to Emily Hines. She is affiliated to she has different hats. One of them is Wavemakers United, who is a dear partner of the Global Youth Movement for Water. And I'm going to let you introduce yourself directly, if that's okay for you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name's Emily Laura Hines. So I am based in Toronto, Canada. I am the director of the Forum for Leadership on Water, but also a board member of Wavemakers United, which I'm coming more in that hat today. And I've been in the water sector for a few years now. So basically kind of want to look at like what got us to this point very quickly, but why it's so important this year especially. So the big thing is, I would say about in 2000, I think 2024, 2023, we had the last water conference in New York. This is going to be the next session from that. And why it's so important is that this is a pivotal year for water. We can see that kind of internationally. You had the World Economic Forum calling it the World Water Year or the Blue Year. And I think that we can all see around the world that water conflicts and conversations are coming to a head. So this kind of brings all of these water leaders together from intergenerations, so from like the younger generations to the older generations, to come together to discuss. So what we really want to do with the bringing people together is not only have youth come to the water conference, but feel really confident in being a part of it before, during, and after. So I think that's what we really want to talk about today, is that we want everyone to get there. We want you to feel confident and like be in the rooms and make sure that we're all kind of supporting each other. Think of this more as less competition, but collaboration. That's what we're really looking for. And that's why I'm so grateful for the Global Youth Movement for Water for bringing these organizations together. Yeah, so I think this is a huge year for water. I hope we can all see you there. And Alex, if there's anything else you want me to speak to in terms of getting here, this is an amazing resource, so I can kind of continue on. But yeah, you can see what's happening here. The 8th to 10th, co-hosted UAE and Senegal. And Noah will pass it on next about the interactive dialogue. So really everything is being covered. So we're looking at people, planet, economy, innovation, and we really want to make sure that I think everyone who works in water knows that water is the central to everything. I really like the idea of having the SDG 6 at the center point of all the SDGs. But what we want you to do is that it's not just people working in water, talking to other people in water. We want to really involve youth who are working across the climate sector, because water goes everywhere. When we look at farming, innovation, education, WASH, everyone should be there to have these conversations and should be empowered that their opinions and personal lived experiences matter in these conversations. So I really want to kind of ask you to like spread the message to your friends and to your colleagues and your peers, because water has historically felt a little like a members club, and it isn't. And I think that we really want to have all these different conversations, and especially having youth from all over, so it's not just, you know, people who are always at the conversation being there as well. And I have seen your chat, and I know that we're talking about visas and funding issues. And I know that we're all really facing this. Like every organization is having a hard time figuring that out. So let's really lean on each other, look for ideas, look for support. I'll try to go into the chat a bit more and offer some suggestions. And like to let you know, I know that like getting funding is the absolute hardest part. So quickly looking at youth and like what is so important is that we don't want young people to show up to this conference and then leave and go home, like take a few pictures. That is absolutely not what we don't want. And what we're doing and what we have done, and like you'll see Mahmoud and Alex on the call and Isabella, what we've all been fighting for is that youth are at every single part of this conference. So in the organization parts, and what we're talking about in the panel discussions, and then also being mobilized at the conference itself. So like, for example, Wavemakers wants to make a hub that young people can come and talk and debate about what we're actually learning and talking about. But then what happens after the conference? Because I think a lot of the time, sometimes youth can feel like a check mark, and we are not that. I think everyone here agrees to that. We are not a check mark. We are so much more. Have us at the table, have us making those decisions. And I'm really happy to say that the UAE, the Planning Committee, and Senegal are really listening. So this is the moment that we have been working for almost 30 years, and we finally have the ear, so we have to make the most of it. Yes, I think that's all I have to say right now. Let me know if there's anything else about that, but happy to answer any of your questions in the comments.
Thank you so much. I was taking the liberty to try and see what you were saying and seeing where it was fitting indeed the slide best.
Appreciate it, Alex.
So that you
That was
were not
fantastic.
saying like, click the button, please. But thank you so much for this overview. I think it covered what I had in mind that I wanted someone else to say, because I feel that I'm always repeating this, and we always want to bring people in and to bring partners' views, right? Not only partners, but also, young professionals themselves. I think what I would want to add would be for the very the practicalities of, okay, the conference is in December this year in the UAE, in Abu Dhabi. It's co-hosted by the UAE and Senegal. The thematic is to accelerate the implementation of SDG 6, okay? I'm not just reading the slide, I'm trying to also make you really assimilate all the details, because each bullet point has its importance in itself. Basically, for instance, for the thematic, it's important to understand that the 2023 Water Conference was already a huge step as well, because it was the first time for a long time. And there has been a lot of work from the Netherlands and Tajikistan, who were the host of this conference, to not only have a successful UN 23 Water Conference, but also to provide a lot of lessons learned for the UAE and Senegal. And that's also thanks to all of these lessons learned that the UAE and Senegal have purposely started the preparatory process very, very early. It started, if I'm not mistaken, last year, before I was actually at ISW, so that's why I have a doubt. But basically, it has been very consultative, and that's already a first for the UN Water Conference, right? Because in 2023, Tajikistan and the Netherlands, if you want to have a look at the webinar where Henk Ovink, water ambassador, you should check it out, because he always has a lot of wisdom to share and a lot of lessons to for everyone to learn. He was basically mentioning that they didn't have a lot of time, and that they didn't have the roadmap, right? While the UAE and Senegal were able to rely on Tajikistan and the Netherlands to really see, okay, how should we do it? What I think I also wanted to mention again, to really have people understand and not have expectations that are not that will not be able to be covered, is that it's not so. It's huge, right? It's amazing. We are all super happy to see that there is a UN Water Conference, but what does it mean? What does it mean? It's the UN, so it's big, it's huge, it's all the world, but at the end of the day, what will be the outcome? The outcome is that we will have no binding result, right? So far, we don't have this mechanism is a diplomatic space, is a political space, is a place of dialogue between member states. That's the first objective of the UN Water Conference, is to bring the countries together to talk. The countries together, right? So it means that all countries will come and discuss, and we, as youth and civil society, we are observers. We are not the target, the first target for this UN Water Conference. Of course, the idea is to not only have political talking together and just us, like as a little mouse on the as a fly on the wall, So that's also why there are some interactive dialogues, and that's really where observers like us and different companies and different organizations can interact with member states about the different topics that Emily talked about, to say, okay, you politics, you think about that, but we also think this should be taken into account, right? And there are also parallel events, special sessions, side events. There are some pavilions for countries or organizations. Emily was talking about a hub that will be in a zone where everybody can access so that we can talk together. But coming to the last bullet point, there is an accreditation system. And that's, like linked to visa issue, linked to budget and everything. It's very important to understand where we are here. We are at a UN Water Conference, meaning member state conference primarily. And we have to be accredited. So organizations have to be accredited in order to be able to observe all of these intergovernmental sessions, right? For those who want to be part of it, I would first, and that's coming back to my slide on youth, the slide on youth involvement, to complement what Emily was saying. It's not only about going there. You don't need to go to the conference itself in order to participate. You don't need to be there to do the heavy lifting and the work. I have taken from the UN 2023 conference this infographic because I find it really cute and I think it's really accurate. And also we should always, capitalize on what has been done and not redo it all over again, but still give credit to the hosts and all the people who have worked on the UN Water Conference in 2023. Everyone is part of the mechanism somehow, right? So you don't need to go there and to be there in person in the sessions and everything, because in any case, you won't be able to talk to the General Assembly president if it's the intergovernmental session or if it's a country that has the lead, right? You cannot just like say, hey, I have something to say, So I think it's important to understand that you are part, like the water sector is part of the water conference, no matter if we go in person or not. And we can influence the water conference even back home, because it starts at country level, right? Because it's a member state conference, it starts at country level. That's the part of the slide that says different levels of engagement. You can engage with your local communities to have impact. You can engage with your government at national level, but also at local level to have impact. You can engage globally with a lot of different partners to have impact. But it depends on what you want, right? If what you love is just learning about the water conference, it's fine. You have your place here. Everyone has its place, basically. And it's very important to understand all of this, because I hear so many people saying like, I want to go, how can I go? But why do you want to go? I'm going to be a bit of the devil's advocate, but like, why do you want to go? Is it to learn? Because you can learn from your home, and traveling is expensive, it's far, it's tiring. Of course, it's super invaluable, to be there and to understand the dynamic and everything. But there are other types of conferences as well. There are conferences at local level, at regional level, at global level. There are several. So there are multiple ways of going without accreditation and without going in person, right? You can definitely engage and have impact while staying at home as well. I'm not trying to discourage everyone, but I'm also trying to kind of level the expectations, because a lot of young people are frustrated to not be able to go, while you don't have to go to be part of the change and the impact and the change that you want to see in the world, to quote Baden-Powell. So that's what I wanted to say for the youth involvement and where you will be able to fit. But we will give you more information about more concrete ways than just me saying like, you can go everywhere and you can do everything. For now, I'm just going to leave the floor to my dear colleague, Charlène, if you're around. Thank you so much. And I'm going to leave you to introduce yourself as well.
Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Charlène, and I'm a project assistant for the youth sector at ISW. It's a pleasure to be here today and to introduce the Global Youth Movement for Water. Before explaining what the movement is, I'd actually like to start with why it exists. Over the last 10 to 15 years, we've seen an incredible growth of youth engagement in the water sector. Around the world, thousands of young people have been leading projects, creating organizations, developing innovative solutions, and advocating for stronger action on water. The challenge wasn't a lack of motivation, it was fragmentation. So many youth organizations were working on similar issues, often facing the same challenges, but they weren't always connected to one another. As a result, young people had many individual voices, but not always one strong collective voice capable of influencing global water governance. That realization led to the creation of the Global Youth Movement for Water. The movement was officially launched during the 9th World Water Forum in Dakar in 2022, bringing together youth organizations and institutional partners around a common vision to better coordinate action, strengthen collaboration, and make sure young people are recognized as meaningful partners in shaping water policies and solutions. Today, the movement has grown into a global coalition bringing together around 400 youth-led organizations, professional networks, institutional partners, and regional youth platforms, all working together to strengthen youth engagement in water governance and action. ISW serves as the secretariat of the movement, but it remains fundamentally a collaborative movement built by youth, for youth, with youth. And one thing that's important to understand is that joining the movement doesn't mean joining another organization. Every member keeps its own identity, its own projects, and its own priorities. The movement exists to create connections between organizations, encourage collaborations instead of duplication, share opportunities, and amplify the collective impact of youth working on water around the world. Our work is organized around a few key objectives. So we connect youth globally. We strengthen their capacities through training and peer learning, facilitate collaboration with institutions and water professionals, increase access to opportunities, and most importantly, ensure that young people have meaningful opportunities to contribute to water decision-making, not just as participants, but as partners. Over the past few years, the movement has also become increasingly active in major international water processes. Many of you may remember the Fill Up the Glass campaign during the 2023 UN Water Conference, which united youth organizations worldwide around 5 key demands for youth inclusion in water governance. More recently, youth organizations worked together to develop the Bali Youth Targets during the 10th World Water Forum. And last year, together with UNESCO, we co-developed the Water Youth Strategy, the first global strategic framework dedicating to strengthening youth engagement in the water sector. Today, all of this work is feeding into preparations for the 2026 UN Water Conference. So the Global Youth Movement for Water is working alongside the UN Major Group for Children and Youth, UN agencies, governments, and many partners to help coordinate youth engagement throughout the conference process and ensure that young people's contributions are meaningful, coordinated, and action-oriented. And that's exactly why this webinar series is so important. Meaningful participation doesn't happen overnight. It requires knowledge, collaboration, opportunities to engage. So through this capacity development series, we hope to strengthen all of those dimensions and prepare young people to contribute effectively to the road towards the 2026 UN Water Conference. So finally, if you're joining us today on behalf of a youth organization or a partner organization working with youth, we warmly invite you to become part of the Global Youth Movement for Water. Just to be clear, individuals cannot join the movement. You need to be part of an organization, so either a youth-led organization or an organization supporting youth-led actions. So you can use I'll put the link in the chat to join the movement. And thank you, and back to you, Alex.
Thank you so much. There's always a bit of latence when you start the videos. Thank you so much, Charlene. What I really like with Charlene intervention, it's like the first time that I hear the full story, like a bit narrated, you know, like it's silly to say, but I often give the pitch to, okay, what is the Global Youth Movement for Water? Who are we? We are a lot of people. We have a lot of, I say we because it's a coalition, right? It's supposed to be collective, and we have many partners. By the way, Charlene has done amazing work with looking at a database, trying to refresh it, and we will be trying to update it in a sense that we are going to try and see the people that are the members that are less active, why they are less active. Is it because they're not operating anymore? And that's fine, but for now, the number that we have, the number of members that we have is 400 approximately. And if I don't know if you've been following us, but for the past years, we have been saying 370 plus organizations. We have reached the 400, you know. So I think it's a milestone to also see the level of engagement and level of interest, because it's again, as Charlene mentioned, it's not only youth-led organization, it's also youth-serving organizations. So, for instance, UNESCO is not youth-led, but they have been supporting youth for a long time, and same for a lot of different partners like UNICEF, who is also looking at looking at the children landscape and bridging the youth and children landscape. So there are many very interesting things. Apologies for all the members that we couldn't put on the slide because 400 is a lot. But don't hesitate to reach out. But just keep in mind that we have limited capacity. We are only 2 people to try and manage the secretariat. So the idea is to have a newsletter regularly and to bring people together like this, but it's really collaborative. So that's why it's also Isabella from the movement that is, you know, orchestrating all of these webinars. So it's, you know, it's everybody's work, it's everybody's boat. So don't hesitate to take a piece and own it and share the load with us. But that being said, on the movement, I wanted also to share some concrete things that we do. Because, okay, having a broad coalition of a lot of members is important in terms of sharing opportunities, for instance. As soon as we have something to put in the newsletter, we consolidate and reach out to that many members. So sometimes it's about, you know, a job offer or an opportunity for a fully funded participation to the conference, wink, wink, to the Global Youth Water and Voice program. So we're gonna dive into some of the big joint initiatives that are currently taking place. But I wanted to give you an overview of what is being done lately, because we have this Youth for 2026 UN Water Conference Task Force, which is basically a bi-weekly meeting with a lot of different partners, where we try and see what everyone wants to do, how can we have complementarity and synergies, and how can we support one another. We try and jointly plan so that we wouldn't duplicate or interfere with one another, but really strengthen the workload and the capacity and the power of what we are trying to do. With this task force, it's unfortunately often the same actors that we see, also because I don't know if it's also a matter of algorithm, you know, that's also something that I want to look into. But not everybody can be part of a bi-weekly meeting. It wouldn't be really structured. So thank you very much. I was going to say thank God, but no, thank you very much to the UN Major Group for Children and Youth that I'm going to leave the floor to in a minute, because they are also helping a lot with a youth organizing committee that maybe a lot of you have applied for. The idea is to really complement this task force with more people, with more power, right? So that we would all coordinate even better, even, in a more powerful way. And the way it's structured is 6 different thematic working group aligned with the interactive dialogues and 6 functional subcommittees, which will allow us to dive more and to have more capacity, right? Because with a bi-weekly meeting with a lot of effort, we still cannot do as many things that we would like. So the UN Major Group for Children and Youth representative who is here on the call today, I don't see the person, I don't see you guys, so I'm talking by myself, but you will have more information about that. And the goal of all of this is to build on what has been done before. As Charlene has mentioned, it has been years that we've been working on a lot of different things. Different spheres, like the climate, for instance, sphere, is more organized than the water sector when it comes to participation of youth. And we really have to look at all those different sectors that are doing something different, something that works more or less. It depends on the thematic, on the subject. But we really have to look at what is being done elsewhere and how can we improve youth participation and engagement in the water sector. So I'm gonna stop here, but basically, like, we are exchanging a lot to see, like, okay, who is applying for a side event, and don't hesitate to let us know in the chat or to send us an email to say that you are planning a side event, because we are really trying to bring everything together to assemble the information so that everybody can be informed, and not be clueless, like it's the power. And what we want for the global youth movement is also to have one voice, right? So that if an important big company, a big organization, an important person at the conference or in another conference or in another space talks to youth, the person will then have also the information about the rest of what is done, so that we will be a collective and not just individuals and individual organizations. I'm going to dive directly into the Youth Organizing Committee, if that's okay. Gonna check who is here. I see that Rashana is here. Rashana, would it be okay for you to say a few words about the Youth Organizing Committee?
Yeah.
Awesome. Go for it. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and thanks, Alex, for giving the introduction on the Youth Organizing Committee. It is an official mechanism through which the young people are being brought into the 2026 UN Water Conference. It is led by the UN Major Group for Children and Youth, and Water Youth Network, which is the SDG 6 constituency lead, along with our partners with Global Youth Movement for Water. The response, we did call for an application from youth-led and youth-serving organizations. The response has been fantastic. We received more than 400 applications, and we've been sorting through it ever since the deadline has been closed. We're building a group of more than 60 organizations who will be divided into the 12 subcommittees that we have designed. 6 of them would be on the thematic working groups, which are aligned with the interactive dialogues of the water conference, and the 6 of them would be functional subcommittees, which will handle the coordination, communication, and the operational side of our work. Looking ahead, the expected deliverables and what we hope to achieve from the Youth Organizing Committee would be to have a global consultation to gather inputs from all of you across the regions on what are the priorities of the young people aligned to the interactive dialogues, and also youth position papers reflecting our shared priorities, and capacity building session such as this one to help young people to understand the process and how they can engage meaningfully. And I think it's a great place to be working with all of these youth organizations who have been in this field for so many years. And I think This is one of the activities that is focused on engaging young people, but there are, I'm sure, through the session, you'll know a lot more about other initiatives. And we're looking forward to engaging with all of you and yeah, making the youth voice heard in the conference. Thank you. And one more note, for the people who have applied for the Youth Organizing Committee, you will get the selection emails if you're selected in a few days. So please keep an eye on your inbox and yeah, and let's get to work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rashana, and thank you so much to your team for the incredible work. For those who may wonder, the structure is limited to 50, 60 youth-led organizations, not because we don't want more people. It's really because we want to be realistic in the messiness of some meetings, and sometimes more people does not equal better outcome. Even though we want to be as inclusive as possible. So what we had in mind, what I had in mind at least, was really to at least also for the World Youth Parliament for Water chapters, for instance, that I haven't mentioned yet, but I will in a second, to say that you may know someone who will be part of this committee, and feel free to organize yourself, right? We are a lot of different partners trying to provide a structure and a way for us all to collaborate, but that doesn't mean that that you cannot do more and further. For instance, at local level, we cannot have everyone from every single place of the planet, right? So you can organize yourself definitely within regions and everything too, so that if you know one of the organization part of your region is part of this committee, then you still have a voice through this person who is part of the committee. There's always room to have participation and engagement. As I was saying with this little infographic before, you can be part of this no matter if you're part officially of the task force or the youth organizing committee or another opportunities that we will share after. Yeah, so for instance, for the World Youth Parliament for Water that ISW has been supporting as much as we can, a very successful example that I often give. Apologies to always put the spotlight on them, but I really admire all the young people from many organizations, and especially from the World Youth Parliament for Water chapters that we talk to on a daily basis, Shalon and I. For instance, the Latin America and the Caribbean region, they have organized themselves in, they have a national focal point and then the regional focal point, and then they speak directly with other chapters, regional or local or national from the World Youth Parliament for Water, which means that they really have a structure to bring together the Latin America and the Caribbean voice. And so don't hesitate, if you know someone from there, to reach out to see how can you be informed, at least, with what will be happening. And that's also why it has value to be a member of the Global Youth Movement for Water as well, is because through the newsletter you also have some information spreading as much as possible. And that's also why we wanted to have this infographic that I'm going to come back to if my, yeah. Oh, sorry. So you see, the Youth Organizing Committee is really one part of the puzzle, right? And now we will go to a specific initiative from the launched by the Arab Youth Center, the Global Youth Water Invoice. So I'm going to see who is in the call, but it's one example of a very successful initiative as well that is launched thanks to the momentum of the World of the UN Water Conference. And I'm going to leave the floor in a second if I see the person. Mariam, I see you. Are you? Yeah.
Yes,
Awesome.
nice to meet you all. Thank you so much, Alex, for inviting us to be part of today. And thank you to every young person who logged in to the capacity development series. It's congratulations for making it here, because it means that you really want to create a change in your respective communities. So thank you for taking the time. Today, I want to walk you through a very meaningful opportunity in the lead up to the UN Water Conference that will be happening in Abu Dhabi. My name is Mariam Abdessalam. I lead communications with the Arab Youth Center. And before I start, I want to utilize the reactions feature here on the chat for you guys to tell me how many people of you have struggled with funding before and find funding a struggle for joining the UN Water Conference. Feel free to like react using a raise of hand or a thumbs up on the chat. So many reactions coming in. Okay, it's raining. Well, it will be raining even heavier when I ask you the following question. So, do you feel, as Alex was saying, that you are ready to participate? Like, even if funding is there, do you have enough knowledge that puts you on the table, writing policies, discussing, sharing with experts what you really think? I think both those things are a challenge. So this is what we're solving here with the Global Water Youth and Voice Program. It's a bit long. The program basically is a flagship initiative by the Arab Youth Center. If you're not familiar, the Arab Youth Center is the leading platform for young people in the MENA region when it comes to youth programming and youth empowerment. And today we are doing something that's outside of our skin a little, which is launching a global program because we really believe in the power of youth and we believe that water is a global conversation. It's not just a local conversation or a regional conversation. We all deserve a seat on the table. So basically, the program will select 100 of the best young leaders when it comes to the water. And particularly, you do not need to be an expert, but you need to showcase that you really want to learn. It's a capacity building program at the end of the day. You can find the application link through this QR code. More details on the program is that, first of all, the deadline is not pretty soon, but it's coming up. It's on the 13th of August. And what you will get to learn is, first of all, foundational and specialized training in water governance. It will run from September to November. It will be entirely remote with funding to attend the UN Water Conference in December. Secondly, you will directly engage with policymakers, national delegations, and international experts. You will be part of a network of 100 people and even more, because as Alex was saying, the network is so huge and so many young people are doing so many incredible things. So it will be very diverse. And thirdly, funding to attend the UN Water Conference and not just attend, but meaningfully participate through the knowledge that you have already acquired with the capacity building program. And finally, that you will be a part of an international cohort that's very, very diverse and with ongoing opportunities for collaboration and engagement. What I'm going to do now is that I'll drop on the chat the application link. And also, if you want to reshare this opportunity with your network, because I know that even though there are only 200 people there, I know that each of you has like 20, 30 other people that would be interested to join this program. And we are really keen to to expand its reach as wide as we can to ensure that young people from all around the world, particularly water scarce regions, have a seat on the table. That's one. And two, I will also share with you a partners kit, since all of you now have become our partners, that you can use to create original content if you want to share with your networks. If you are like fellow content creators and you want to share that with your fellow youth networks, please feel free to do that. Also, feel free to follow us at the Arab Youth Center on Instagram or LinkedIn. If you have any questions, I will send all the link here on the chat. And if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them on the chat and I will be taking a look. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Like with these two opportunities, I think it's already a success to see that something is popping with concrete engagement opportunities, right? Congratulations to the UN Major Group for Children and Youth, to the Arab Youth Center, and to so many more organizations that have said, like, I have an idea and I want to follow up on it. I want to create the structure for it. I want to find the way to make it happen, and let's do it. It's a lot of work, So congratulations and thank you so much, because it's really meaningful, and that's how we build meaningful youth engagement, right? So thank you so much, Mariam. It was great. And apologies for slipping the slide. I actually wanted to react myself, because myself as well, I have tried to go at a conference when I was younger, and I couldn't sometimes because of funding as well and everything, even if it was not related to water conference, just academic conference or anything. So I think everybody can relate to that. So thank you again, and let's go to the next opportunity. Yes, the next opportunity is the UNESCO first report on meaningful youth engagement in water governance. It's huge as well. It's super important as well. All of them are super important. But I'm gonna check if Mahmoud is here, so feel free to take the floor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Alex, for the invitations, and thanks to IWA and Major Group for Youth and Children for organizing this series. It's really very important to have it at the moment. And just I want to share my objection. I don't think I can present just after Miriam. It's very unfair. I don't think I will be able to match her energy, but let's see. So maybe, Alex, if you don't mind, I can start with the following slide, and then I come back. Yes, thank you so much. So thank you again, and mainly what's UNESCO doing in the water space? Definitely UNESCO has been very recent, been engaging in this space since 2022, and since then, maybe some of you have been hearing about our water youth networks. Maybe you have heard about the groundwater youth network or the eco-hydrology youth network. We have been trying really to see how can we engage through different thematics that UNESCO is really well known for. But then it goes back to 2025, where things starts to shift a bit when we collaborated with ISW into organizing the first UNESCO Water Youth Dialogue. It was in June, celebrating the 50th anniversary of IHP, the Intergovernmental Hydrological Program of UNESCO. And since then, we invited, I think, like 60 youth organizations, presidents, and leaders to ask them, how can we do better? And how can we really engage youth in a different way than what has been done at the moment? And that led to the creation or development of what we call Water Youth Strategy. Alex has mentioned it at the first words of this webinar. And mainly the youth networks and organizations they have highlighted three different priorities. The first priority, they mentioned that we are really lacking opportunities to have water education. We don't have enough scholarships that would allow us to be more rigor and more strongly engaging in the water sector. We need scholarships for undergrad water programs and postgrad water programs, whether a master's or a PhD. And that doesn't mean that only for engineers, but water is really, as you know, it's multifaceted type of engagement. It needs water politics, water diplomacy, water and social human sciences. It's very interdisciplinary topic. So this is what they mentioned. They mentioned also that we need capacity development to be able to engage in the water sector properly. The second priority area, they mentioned we don't have enough career opportunities for early career young professionals. And that was the second highlighted area. And they mentioned that we're having a lot of innovative ideas and solutions that we want to provide to be provided with the space to be able to share them. And this is basically the second priority area on career opportunities and innovation. And the third one, they said, we don't feel that we are meaningfully engaged in the water spaces and the global water processes with local governments, with national governments, with regional governments or river basin organizations. They don't think that they are actually supported enough. And basically, maybe I would just go to how UNESCO is trying to work with youth organizations to implement this. We, as UNESCO, we work as our interface is directly with governments. So what we worked with is that we work with UAE into initiating this shell, let's call it an umbrella organization that would allow a stronger collaboration with governments, because at the UN system, when you work with governments, that ensures that they trust the work that will happen and they want to engage more. And UAE has provided like a request to all member states of UNESCO, like 193 different countries, asking them whether such program into engaging more youth into water space would it be something of interest to different countries? And the answer was absolutely yes. So last month, we adopted the first flagship initiative under UNESCO's program that's really working in implementation of the three different priority areas. How are we implementing this? Basically, we're working with you, with youth networks, with the Global Youth Movement for Water, and ISW to ensure that youth will be integrated to the water spaces in three different ways. The first one is the first slide. If you can go back, sorry, to the first slide, is on the meaningful youth engagement. So we tried to map out how youth are being now engaged in the water space. We don't have any data. If you go online, like try to find like some reference documents, you won't find anything that's really based on major data that can be that we can work with to be able to develop some programs or initiatives. And that's why UNESCO has launched a survey that was, I think, published 2 weeks ago on UNESCO's website. And I can send you in the chat the survey. The survey really aiming to collect as much as possible different views from three different actors. First one is the youth. We really aim to have like huge responses in order to be able to understand more the dynamics of youth and youth needs and the current engagement levels. The second one has been sent to governments. We are asking different governments how they are engaging with youth in their territories and their programs. And the third one, we sent it to the UN system. We are asking how UN system can be supporting such initiatives to ensure that youth, when they are engaged, they are actually meaningfully engaged, not tokenized, not symbolistic type of requests. So that's like Mariam was mentioning at the moment, like really when you go to the conference, we wouldn't want you just to be there, like having some few like words and just leave the conference. No. How can we ensure that we are using such capacities for what's after the conference and beyond December? So after we are really getting all the different inputs from the survey, we will be sharing. We will be working on drafting this report. This report is planned to be launched at the conference as well. So we'll be very delighted to share with you what are the different insights, where are the gaps, and where are the different opportunities, and how can we engage more partners into implementation of the water use strategy. Moving to the second and third pillars, we're working with a couple of partners now on two different initiatives in order to really work with governments to increase the number of available scholarships to both the local and international students within both Global North and Global South. This is a first initiative program that we're working on. The second one, we're working with a coalition of private sector in order to develop capacity development program that can strengthen the pipeline that's connecting between just a fresh graduate and being the first job opportunity that they're getting in the water sector. So basically, most of the insights that we are getting that most of the fresh graduates from the water programs are not really ready for the job market. And we are taking this really, really seriously. And we have been in touch with a couple of private sector that we have seen very interested to develop such programs to make sure that there will be more internships, more placements, more fellowships, more graduate programs that can prepare more youth to be ready to jump directly into the job market. And of course, we're trying to design such programs now so that we can hopefully announce its launching by the conference. But of course, we will need your support. The more that you are sharing insights with us, I think the stronger the programs that we are developing will be. I think this is all from my side. Alex, in case you wanted me to highlight on something else, back to you.
Thank you so much, Mahmoud. Up, reconnecting. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a lot, but it's exciting, you know. And basically, what this overall presentation gives you, it's like there's a lot of homework to do if you want to engage in the conference, right? But there are a lot of ways to connect, to take part, from taking a survey to give data, to consolidate all the information out there, up to joining a committee and applying for a youth seat at the conference with the Global Youth Envoys, and also joining us for the next few years, because that will be the next few years with the flagship. There are many opportunities. We want to cover as much as possible the water sector. We do what we can, but feel free to do something as well, and let us know that you do it, and take part in all of this. That's also why we're called the Global Youth Movement for Water, is because we want this to be a movement. We want to have a dynamic process of engagement and making change and impact. So there's a lot, and there will still be a lot to cover. But we wanted to not only give you with this presentation some information about the conference itself, about how much you don't know, because even ourselves, we don't know everything. But we also wanted to give you concrete opportunities of, okay, that's where I can start, because sometimes with a huge workload in front of you, you don't know where to start. Feel free to start small and go from there. For the next webinars, I was trying to look at the chat to see what was the kind of question that we may have in the Q&A. I see that some people are asking about the webinars links, and so you have on the screen now the QR code to for the second session, that is Water for Planet, the interactive dialogue 2. Yes. And so don't hesitate to feel free to register, because it will be a very important session with our dear partner, the International Institute for Sustainable Development. So we are very keen on hearing from you now. Let's see the slide. Let's open the floor. Maybe I will stop sharing my screen if that's okay, so that I can see you all. And let's bundle some questions together. I'm going to try and look at while some people take the courage to take the floor for a question. Maybe we can I can go through some of them so that we can see how to bundle them and how to reply to some. But Isabella, don't hesitate to let me know if you wanted
Yes.
to in a second.
No, so most of the questions I was already typing in the chat, sorry, in the Q&A. But I see that we have one question from Ayomiji Lori. I'm gonna allow you to talk so you can make your question. Ayomiji, can you please unmute yourself and make your question? Otherwise, I will ask the others to put the questions in the Q&A so we can have a look and I can make the questions on your behalf. Okay, so we have a question from Alphonse. As a school teacher, there are volunteer opportunities. So, Alphonse, I would recommend that you apply for the program that was shared for the Arab Youth Center. So maybe you can be selected to become one of the participants of the program. Okay, so we have another question from Audrey. Audrey, yes, the movement, we can have others that are not water professionals to join. I am not a water professional from a background on this. Yes. My major is international relations and economics, and I'm working in the water sector. So I would definitely recommend that you to join and become part of it. Okay, so this was answer and answer. Yeah, Audrey, you're AI, so you can definitely join.
It may be a bit boring to look at other people's questions, but Isabella has answered to a lot of them. So don't hesitate to read other people's questions and read the answer, because there are very important information there.
So this is answer. We have one question from Nombini She's asking how can we be part of this movement and report our work and get support and collaborations. I would say that one of the starts you're already done. You're joining the session that we have in the capacity building. So this is a good start on this. I would definitely recommend that you register with the link that Charlene has posted in the chat, and that you also register to receive the newsletters. Another option is to follow our social media platforms where we post a lot of information in terms of what each one of the organizations are doing. So follow the social media from IWA, from UNESCO, from International Secretariat for Water, and the other partners, because we are always like posting the activities that we have. In the case from IWA, for example, we have our learning platform where you can sign up to our free webinars and the events that we are hosting. The ones in person, they are mostly like paid, so you have to consider if you can afford to join. And in terms of other collaborations, I would say keep an eye open for what comes next. The UNESCO platform is also a very good platform that you can use, and definitely like I recommend to fill up the survey that Mahamud has shared. Alex, are you seeing any other that is relevant to?
I see that Emily has her hand raised, and I'm gonna take
Yes.
the liberty to give her the chance.
Hi. I just wanted to say to everyone in the chat, one thing I think is really important when you're looking to join these organizations is what do you offer and like what do you enjoy doing? So there's that list I believe Charlene showed of all of these like 300 organizations in the global youth movement for water. I highly recommend you look through them and then think of like, do you want to help with the communications? Do you want to help with the diplomacy? Do you want to help with the collaboration on the ground, the science? Because it's so great to see everyone so excited, and like you all have different and important skills across the water sector. Like one thing in water, like honestly, communications, we always need more comms people. Always, always, always. If you want to be somebody who's like making TikToks, making stuff, I think that's really important because you have so much to join. So I just want to say that's like my practical advice for getting into these organizations and making a real difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's actually what I was like. I was gonna say something that would complement. It's like exactly look at what you like, look at where you are, right? Because it's sometimes nice also to have to join an organization that is not too far from your home. And not too far from your time zone. A little tip: don't start engaging with someone who is in New Zealand while you're in North America, because
Definitely.
it will be painful for both of you. But yeah, so basically there are so many partners in this global youth movement for water. Every partner is doing something different, because that's what we want. What we want, complementarity. And you can definitely also wear multiple hats. But that being said, don't overload yourself too much. Be careful of the time that you want to spend on this. Is it that you want to spend time because you want to look for a job? Then it's different than just volunteering some time, right? If you want to look for a job, then it's an investment, then okay to spend a lot of hours. But if it's a volunteering job, be careful with your mental health and the workload that you have, and work-life balance and all of these things. But overall, yes, we definitely need a lot of different profiles from a lot of different sectors. As Isabella was mentioning, she's not at first from the water sector, but we need people who are from different sector and learn about the water sector to then make the bridge. Same as we need water engineers to understand global politics and economics, to then understand why it's not that simple as just building a well. We have the science, we've always had the science, and it's not enough. We really need to merge these disciplines, the background, the profiles, the sectors, we are a whole system, especially when you look at the UN Water Conference. It's global, right? And it's okay also to discover that it's not for you, right? If it's too many people, too much politics, or too many. Okay, what are we doing? Too much coordination. It's fine as well. You're also part of the impact, being on the ground, and doing something a bit more in your sphere, in your niche.
Alex, we received a question regarding engagements in local communities, and I think that this is relevant to bring because first, like, thank you for our question that has been posted in the Q&A, and I think that this question highlights a very important aspect of turning global discussions into local impact, and this is almost what we are doing here. This capacity development series is designed to equip young water professionals, to equip like young people with knowledge, skills, and the network, the meeting like the peers that you have been meeting during like the session today, that are needed to engage in a very efficient way before, during, and after the UN 2026 Water Conference. And while this series itself does not implement projects, this is again a capacity development series. I believe that these online webinars, they help all the participants that are here, that are attending the sessions, to become better prepared to lead and collaborate within their own communities. And Alex, this is also related to what you said in terms of what someone wants by joining this session, what someone desires by joining one of the groups that are part of the organizations here. What is the availability? What is the commitment? What is the time that you have? Because joining by joining, it doesn't make sense at all. Everyone here has several commitments. Life happens. We have jobs, and becoming a volunteer in these organizations, they demand time. They demand like time and resources. So reflect a lot in terms of your engagement and what you really desire by joining this. If you want to implement like local project, this could be all the knowledge that you need by, for example, building a better understanding of global water priorities and how they can relate to your local reality, your local challenges, and also how you can use this capacity development series to learn how to engage with other from all over the world. So we have people from Somalia, from South Africa, from Brazil that I saw. We also have from Tajikistan. So it's a very global community. And maybe by joining this online series, you can learn to connect with all these young leaders that we have here. So just some suggestions.
If I may just complement what you mentioned about the different layers of engagement is in my head really important, in the sense that we are trying to provide, a lot of different partners are trying to provide activities, whether it's capacity development or concrete projects, at different level, or advocacy campaign or anything, right? At different levels. But our goal is also to bridge the levels, to make people make people understand what are the differences between those different levels of engagement, and to connect them so that the local level would be informed enough about what's happening at regional and global level, and so that they would be able to make their contribution matter to other level and the other way around as well, right? It's important that the global level knows about what's happening at local level, so that people know what it is to, the real life struggles and the real life issues and challenges, or the real life successes, in the water sector, what works and what doesn't work. So that it can inform global policies, right? But it's very different. It's a very different approach if you work at local, regional, or global, if you work between two or between the three. And understanding the difference is crucial as well. So that's also why capacity development, it's not just lessons, it's meant to build capacity, to build your understanding, so that you can be capable of understanding the differences and turn this knowledge into something practical and something impactful for yourself, for your community, and for the world. Like, not to finish on a too big of a picture, but that's basically it.
I have been seeing like questions about certificates of participation. So just to highlight that we will not be providing certificates of participation for the webinar series. So we won't be sending any of those. Again, the presentation slides we will be sharing alongside the recording from the session. Everything is going to be posted online, so you can access the website and download them. So let me dismiss this one. If you're not from the water sector, you should join. Yes, I saw a question from someone from the health sector. Health is very much connected with water, so water and sanitation and health. So hygiene is also like connected to this. So yes, you can be part of it. And we have one question regarding, yes, we are building a youth hub for the UN Water Conference. And most of the organizations that are present here today, we are preparing youth side events that are targeting young people on this. We don't know yet if the side events proposal, they are going to be accepted. But if they are, we are going to be promoting them accordingly to make sure that we have a lot of participations on this. So yes, we will be notifying and promoting our social media in case the sessions are going to happen. Alex, any other question that you saw?
I'm trying to browse through them so that I can see some patterns. A lot of people are asking how can I join chapter from IWA or from the World Youth Parliament for Water, or from a Wave Makers United also has waves around the world. Look online if there's, like, I'm sorry to say Google it, but I've heard that a lot during my PhD, and at first I was a bit frustrated, but then I understood that it was making a lot of sense, because you really need to look at the landscape that you have around you before wanting to launch something, right? That would be my recommendation. So do have a look at the chapters that are already there, because you can definitely find them on the internet, right? You can look at the IWA chapters on the internet, and same for the Wave Makers United Waves, same for the World Youth Parliament for Water chapters. You have a lot of information there already. If it's not there, then I would recommend looking at, I don't know how it is for IWA, for IWA, but for the World Youth Parliament for Water, we do have different sizes, different levels of engagement. We not only have country chapters, but also regional chapters. So if there is no country chapter in your country, you can maybe have a look at another partner as well, who may have, an IWA chapter or a Wave, depending on what you want, how you want to engage, and what you want to do as activities as well. Or you can join a regional level, if that could be of interest for you as well. And I'm sure you can also go to another NGO or association of the water sector that you find in your city or in your country, and tell them, like, hey, do you know about the Global Youth Movement? Should we join? So that also could be a way, to bring everyone together. So there are many ways. I usually say, please connect with us, and we can answer and guide you. However, I'm really starting to see that the limited capacity that we have, and unfortunately, and I really want to apologize to all those who send messages that I cannot reply to. It's really not because we don't want to reply or that we are ghosting you. We will reply one day, I promise. But that's why I'm really suggesting to keep digging, to be stubborn. When I was younger, I wanted to be a volunteer for an association, and that didn't reply that time, so I became volunteer for another association. And in the end, now I understand why they didn't reply. It's not because they didn't want from me, but it's because just they had limited capacity. And welcome to the associative sector.
Definitely, but Alex, you're right on this in terms of the engagement. And in the case of IWA, as a membership-based association, for the young water professionals, we organize them into country chapters. We don't have regional chapters, but we also have other communities that are based and related to your interest in the water sector. So these are the specialist groups, and those they are global. So it doesn't matter where you are based. You can simply like join them, and they're like groundwater, water loss, water use, sustainability in the water sector. So they're more niche, I would say. And I believe that we cover most of the questions that we have like received. Again, if anyone has any follow-up question, feel free to reach out to us like by email.
Oh, careful with this.
Yes.
Maybe just to finish, I see that one question was repeated, and maybe it's worth mentioning, like answering again from another angle, because I feel that we replied to the question, but I see that it's repeated, so maybe it wasn't clear. And I really want people to understand what we mean. So the Global Youth Movement for Water Capacity Development Series this series is meant for people to understand the UN Water Conference and to see where and how they can engage at different levels. However, we will cover a lot, for instance, the interactive dialogues. So we will dive into the interactive dialogues, and in each interactive dialogue, see what are the trends, what are the important issues of the moment. And so for some dialogue, it may not relate to every single country and every single person and situation, right? I see, for instance, a question from Somalia. Maybe what will be discussed won't be similar to the challenges that you feel on the field, on the ground. And that doesn't mean that everything should be put on the garbage for you, like it's still valuable, but it means that it's not your angle, right? If you feel that what we will provide and what the UN Water Conference provides is not enough to deal with the challenges that you see on the ground, it's potentially normal in the sense that it cannot cover everything, and we cannot solve every challenge with one conference. It's a process, and this webinar series will help you understand part of this, but it's really a process, right? There are a lot of things to uncover, to understand the intertwinement of. So it's really about, okay, you have a challenge, and there is this big system of coordination. There are some things being done. There are some people working on these issues, and it's a process. It's step by step. It's incremental, and don't lose hope. It's really important to continue the good work, to not leave the water sector altogether, because we need people to stay and to fight for those challenges. And to find the help that will really help you, that will have an impact and a change, right? It may not be coming to the water conference that will help you and the local communities. Like sometimes it's not the global conferences that solve the immediate issues, but you can connect. You can do some advocacy. You can raise the voice of your local community. It's also important to know that the conference is a busy time, right? It's a lot of people talking about a lot of things. So it's a bit overwhelming, even for professionals that are in this space for a long time. It can be really overwhelming. So it's normal, it's totally normal to not really understand how our capacity building series deals and solve challenges, because we don't solve challenges. We try to make the bridge between what is the challenge, how can we solve it, and how can we not solve it. And we can definitely not dive into each country and each local community, but we try to just give you some overview, some perspective, right? I think you're muted.
I don't know why. But yes, so I was saying that it's important to highlight that this capacity development series, we are not responsible for approving any side event that is being discussed and submitted towards the UN Water Conference. We don't have any power over this. So I saw a question regarding a side event focused on water advocacy and refugee. I don't know if we're going to have any topics on this. Once the approved side events are out, then we're going to have a better overview in terms of what is happening, what is the agenda of the side events of the UN Water Conference. Again, this is not under our responsibility. And our organizations, we are submitting side events to the UN Water Conference, and we don't know if they are going to be approved or not. So, Mercy, the registration fee to join the webinar series? No, there is no registration fee to join the capacity development series. And if you are planning to attend the UN Water Conference, I believe there is no fee, but you have all the costs to travel and to attend it. And Hita, regarding collaborations to the UN water side events, once they are approved, we are going to have a better understanding if they're approved, and if we have the list, we are going to have a better understanding where young people can be placed on the event. So for now, I will keep a hold into our questions regarding collaboration. For IWA, yes, IWA is a membership-based association. If you want to become a member, there is a fee that you need to pay to become a member. If you are a young water professional, there is a discount code that you can use it to join. And I'm gonna be typing in the chat for this. So yes. So this is done. Alex, we only have like 2 other minutes. I think that we are done with the questions for now. So thank you everyone for coming up and for sharing. I will share the rest of the questions with the other organizers, and then we can also try to submit and reach out to those. And again, thank you very much, Alex. Thank you also on this. And I shared in the link for the next webinar. So feel free to sign up. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Isa, and thank you for everyone who joined, and thank you to the speakers, and see you soon.